Hi everyone, I hope you're all doing well, and today I'm talking about DraftKings stock, which is currently a company that I have never talked about on the channel, so I'm excited to do it because it's one that I've been wanting to do for a while. I'm a big fan of the area that it's moving into as well, so I am looking for other companies in here, so it's one that's been on my watch list to do for a while, one to look into, so I'm finally getting around to doing a brand new stock on the channel and one that I'm really interested in as well. So I'll talk to you with what I found out with DraftKings, and hopefully it saves you like 2 or 3 hours looking into the company by watching this video. So I hope you enjoy it, and for giving this information out to you guys, all I ask for is if you can smash that like button. That'd be absolutely amazing. There's a few more companies in this area that I do want to look at, like Golden Nugget for example. So if you'd like to see a few more companies in this area, let me know which ones you want me to look at, because like I say, it is a very exciting area right now which DraftKings is going into, and it's been a while since I've just talked about one stock that I don't own and done a deep dive into it, so it should be a good one. So we'll have a look at DraftKings. So I do own 888 Casino in this area, and I also own Gang in this area, so I do have some exposure already in this area, but I believe this whole area is going to be massive in a few years. So if there's more potential companies to make money on, I am wanting to look into them, and I thought DraftKings could be one of those companies, so I wanted to have a good deep dive in the company and get a really good understanding of what's going on. Now the reason why I'm so bullish in this area, before we get onto DraftKings and we can understand why this company has potential to do so well, is that basically in America right now, or in the US, online sports gambling and casinos and fantasy sports, which DraftKings is in, has only just been really allowed in the US over the last 3 years, and it goes down to state by state allowing a lot of online gambling and a lot of these fantasy sports, which ones they allow, and it's going to take a while for the states to allow it, but over the next 5 years we should see a lot of US states allowing a lot of online sports betting, which is crazy to think that in the US they don't have that already, especially from me as a UK person, because we've had online sports betting for so long. Just to only be allowed in the US and to be still only allowed in a few states right now, I think it's about 10 or 11, and we think about how much opportunity there could be here, it could be huge. So it's an area that I want to get in more and more into, because if you're from like the UK, you understand how big sports betting can be. And like I say, I have some exposure with Gang, which is more of a platform than an actual a sports betting company. So I would like another sports betting company in here, and DraftKings is one of the ones on the market. There's FanDuel, which is kind of the other big one right now, which is currently owned by Flutter. But there's also a few upcoming ones in this area as well, like William Hill, for example. There's also Churchill Downs. There's also Penn National. So there's a few more I'd love to have a look into. So like I say, if there's any big standout ones that you want me to look into, please let me know which ones you would like me to look into next. I think Golden Nugget could be the one. But first of all, I'm a big fan of DraftKings, as you can see how well it's done. It's invested a lot of money to get that brand out there. It's got a lot of big sponsorship deals with the NFL and other kind of sports. It's in there. NFL obviously makes up a big chunk of the sports betting that it currently has. It also controls a big market of the fantasy market, which is basically like, you put in like a dream team and enter into like a competition and hopefully win the prize. But obviously sports betting as well is a very big market for DraftKings. And like I say, I think it's a great brand. I think it's done well how much it's invested into sponsorships, and that's why it's got such a big market share. And I can see this company dominating a lot of the market share in this sort of industry. So the bull case is that you can see the catalyst of, obviously more states allowing it. It's got a great brand. It's got a great marketing team. The management team is fantastic. It's got the co-founder still as the director, which is everything you'd want to see. And I think this DraftKings can dominate this market here. Now the ticker symbol for DraftKings is DKNG. And it went IPO only a few months ago, which is kind of a little bit worrying for me, because I know that if it's an IPO, there's going to be a lot of volatility in here. And it went IPO via a SPAC stock as well, which is obviously one of the things of it could be choppy for the next kind of couple of months. So like I said, I normally hold off buying in the first 9 months. So I do kind of want to carry on with that. So I don't really want to go into this company until probably next year if I am going to buy. So I just kind of get rid of that volatility. And you also get rid of, if there's any shareholders that have lockup periods where they can't sell the shares, eventually they can sell the shares, and that might bring the stock down. Now when we do look at the stock chart, it did top out at about $63, and it's now dropped down to about $35 as I record in this video. The stock market is very choppy at the moment. Obviously I'm recording this near the election and Corona and everything, so by the time I edit it and upload it, it might not be that sort of price exactly, but it'll be roughly in that range. So yeah, it has had about a 50% drop off its share price recently, which is a massive decline, and it kind of supports, the volatility of the IPO and the SPAC stock situation. So it is kind of dropping quite a bit right now, and I'll talk about if I think this current valuation is decent to buy into. So it currently has a 13 billion market cap, which is key because obviously that's a pretty decent valuation, especially when we have a look at the revenue in a second. So a 13 billion market cap company, it's not exactly a small company. And especially when you're comparing it to something like a Gang, for example, which is like a 400 million market cap, which kind of does the similar, revenue as DraftKings, and also has the same sort of growth. You kind of see like what I'm going to say about this valuation in about 2 minutes. But one thing with it being a unprofitable company, because there's no P ratio, is a quick check on the PS ratio. It does trade at a PS ratio of about 82, which is very, very high. I like to really get some sort of growth companies somewhere between, well, if it can be in the 2 or 3 range, that's fantastic, but I'm probably more willing to go up to an 8 price to sales ratio. So if it's going about 82, that's definitely a lot more than what I'm willing to buy. It does have massive growth potential, but the problem is it's not profitable at the moment, and it's forecast to not be profitable for for a very long time. So that's also one flag, because it means that they're probably going to have to look to raise cash by doing share offerings, which it has recently done one as well. But yeah, obviously it's not profitable at the moment, but it does have massive, huge growth potential, which I do really like. And I think you'll get that from, more states allowing it, and also the great brand that it does currently have. So you're in here for the revenue potential and everything like that. But yeah, I think the profitability would be a bit better if we could see that it was going to be profitable in like maybe a 2 to 3 year range. And like I said, because of it not being profitable, it has recently done a share offering, which is obviously when the stock was a little higher, which was probably the best time to do it. It does have decent cash reserves of 1.2 billion and no debt on the balance sheet, which is a very healthy balance sheet. The only problem is how quick is it going to start chewing through that balance sheet with it not being profitable, and not being profitable for a few years, I guess. And also when we do take a look at the insider front, which is very key, I think, when you're an IPO company, is seeing if there is any insider selling, and there was insider selling, especially at a key role. The director was selling on the company, which I guess kind of says that even he believed the company was very overvalued at $63. So I guess that kind of says something, but saying that, he still has a major stake in the company as well, which is still good to see. So it's a bit 50-50 really. He's selling shares, but he still has a big stake. And I am going to add this in. I have read the investor relations on the company's site, which was pretty good. A bit of a shorter one. It was only, I think, 30 pages long or something like that. But I am going to add in that there was no conference call that I could get hold of. When I talk about these companies, or when I look to buy companies, I do like to listen through conference calls of the last earnings quarters, which haven't been too bad for DraftKings, but I like to listen to a few Q&As, and I couldn't get hold of the conference calls on the website. So I'm not always a fan when you can't get the information. I'm just like, why do they make it so hard to get? So I don't know if it's just me being stupid and not being able to spot it, but I could not really get hold of the conference call, which was a bit annoying. But yeah, I thought I'd add that one in. So overall, where am I at with this company? Well, I think the management team have done a fantastic job. You've still got the co-founder there. It has healthy cash reserves, a great balance sheet, great growth, great branding, great marketing as well, and it's in a massive growing industry, so everything like that I'm a massive fan of. There's only really 2 things that kind of put me off this company right now, and that's how far off profitability it is, which I could kind of put up with, because you don't want to kind of just let back and let the profits come in. You want to carry on expanding the company and do their marketing campaigns, get the profit in a few years time. So I do like where the company's going and what it is spending. I just think you got to be wary that there's going to probably be like share dilution as a shareholder, which is something just be really careful of. So I can kind of get away with the balance sheet and all the profitability, and because it has such a good balance sheet. It's just something to bear in mind. The big red flag I have is the current valuation. Obviously, 13 billion market cap, the 80 price sales ratio or whatever it was. It's very high valuation, especially when you look at something like a Gang that's in a similar area and its market cap's 400 million. You know, and it's like, and they're closer to profitability as well. They are profitable. I'm trying to justify, like, I really do like the company, I like the stock, I like the management, but when the valuation is that high, it's very hard just for me to get over the line on this one. And I know people are going to say that you know, you're not going to get something like a DraftKings at a very cheap valuation, and I understand that point of view, but I also have to be very happy as an investor to put my money in here. Otherwise I can look for other opportunities out there, and unfortunately at the moment it's just a bit too much for me for the valuation that DraftKings is. I really do like the company. I would like to own the company. I just can't buy it at the current share price of $35. I think realistically, I might have to say it would have to be somewhere under the $20 range. And I know there's going to be a few people that say, but you're never going to get it at that sort of price, Jacob. And I can understand their point of view as well. But for me, the risk to reward and everything like that, it's just not got the big enough reward for me. There's a lot of growth priced in at 13 billion market cap. You know, when you look at the current revenue as well, what is it, like 200 million or something? There's a lot of growth priced in, so I do need it cheaper, and if I could get it for cheaper, I would buy. It's just the valuation that kills me a little bit on this one. So yeah, overall, I do really like DraftKings, but it's just such a rich valuation right now that I can't buy. So hopefully that gave you some insight into DraftKings and helped you out if you are looking into it, and kind of what I saw when I looked into DraftKings. Hope it saved you a little bit of time looking into the company fully anyway. So hope you enjoyed it. Smash the like button. Remember, comment down below. Let me know what other gambling stock in the US you might want me to look at. Potentially it could be Golden Nugget. I might do. I don't know. Let me know what you think anyway, and I'll see you in the next video.